Welcome to Graya Overload. I'm Anthony, and Nvidia is pulling the plug on GPP. Is this now the end of GPP? The GeForce Partner Program has come underneath some scrutiny. We don't know much about it, but Kyle Bennett over at Hard OCP did a wonderful job of kind of getting it out in the open and kind of starting to shed some light on it. And he did some great work overall, and I encourage you to go over there, over to Hard OCP, and take a look at his GPP Contact GeForce Partner Program. Today, however, we got the blog post from Nvidia saying, pulling the plug on GPP, leaning into GeForce. Very interesting blog post, Kyle, but pulling the plug, that's a good thing, right? We're taking it, and I'm like, oh, that's a great thing. And then I start reading the blog post, and I got kind of a different perspective on it. And hopefully somebody else, and I'll do some digging too to see if I can't find anything as well. I don't have all the industry context that a lot of these other people have, but I will see if anything turns up from people I know. But it's kind of interesting how they start off with the blog post. And they basically talk about, there's been a lot talked about in the GeForce Partner Program. And then, quote, the rumors, conjectures, and myth-truth go far behind its intent. Rather than battling misinformation, we have decided to cancel the program. That's a really weird thing to say. Why? Because I think that if there were myths, truths, and conjectures, you're going to put them out there and you're going to tell us what they were. Nvidia priorly has, and if you take a look at some of the GPP content and some of their own blog posts on this whole transparency thing, as well as I think I mentioned in my last video on GPP as well, is that Nvidia wanted to be transparent. Like, that's the weird thing here, is that the transparency part is what you wanted to have, and yet you saying that there's rumors, conjectures, and myth truths, and then not naming them is not transparent at all. And so I'm very confused on why Nvidia would even come out and say that when they know they're trying to be or when they said they were trying to be transparent. I know why, because they don't want to be transparent. Right? You can't have one and the other. It's just impossible. And this one is the latest one, so this one's basically overriding your previous one in basically how I'm reading this. And I would encourage you to go read the blog post and then post your comments on what you think below. Nvidia has a great product, but this whole GPP thing has maybe shed a light on maybe some business practices that should not be happening. I believe that there probably could be a lot of governing bodies looking at deals like this. Now, I don't know if anything has really changed with besides GPP, and that could just be the name, right, is gone. I don't know if the contracts have changed with partners. I don't know any of that. I mean, Nvidia goes through in that they wanted to make sure that they were giving gamers the best tech and with clarity, with clear transparency, and nothing hidden behind techno jargon. What I find interesting though is that the 1060 right now, and Nvidia doesn't, or AMD I should say, does not get off scot-free on this either, because they both do this dumb naming scheme that does not help the consumer. Right? If you have a 560, take Nvidia or AMD for example, and they have different amount of streaming processors and stuff, make different names for them. Now, Nvidia, you have a 1060, and then you just also came out, and that's a 6 and a 3 gig, and that's very confusing over there because that has different CUDA cores, I think, on that one, different ones. And then you also just have a new card that instead of having GDDR5 is like DDR4 or something. Same name on the card, or it's in the laptop, MX150, right? I think that's the name of it. And you're not specifying it on the specs. So transparency that you say here, and so that the gamers know what it is, by the way, everyone should know what it is not a priority. And then you go a little bit further, and the partners agree that they still own their own brands. GPP didn't change that. However they want to compare the products to gamers, and they just wanted to make sure that it was that they were bringing the most exciting stuff forward and to avoid distractions, they are pulling the plug on GPP. That's great that they're pulling the plug on GPP. If now brands get back and have Nvidia and AMD in the same form, okay, then GPP's probably pretty much dead. If they're still separate and they diverge more, and there's still not a gaming card for the AMD side or whatever, and some of these with Asus, MSI, everything that's been coming out here lately, and there's been a lot of blog posts on that. Is GPP really dead? And then the last paragraph gets really interesting to me, which is, this is a great time to be a GeForce partner program and part of the fastest growing gaming platform in the world. The GeForce gaming platform is rich with the most advanced technology, and with GeForce experience, it is the way it's meant to be played. So that was a closing paragraph. So is this pulling the plug on GPP, leaning into GeForce? Is this now just the GeForce agreement? And there's just GeForce agreements between each add-in board partner or all of NVIDIA's partners, and this is just how it is. And instead of calling it GPP, it's just the GeForce program. I got a lot of questions here. I hope NVIDIA comes out and clears up and is transparent about this going forward. I don't really. The blog post doesn't answer any questions. It causes more. As you can tell, I'm baffled by how they went this out. This wasn't transparent at all. And I think NVIDIA needs to put some time into this and really come out and lay out what they're actually doing. And not just reassure people, but clear up the air. Be transparent about it. NVIDIA was so big on transparency. They even mentioned in the articles so that, everything would be transparent. But yet, there's still confusion in stuff that they do. And I think that this is just another part of that overall. And I think NVIDIA could do a great job here and clear it all up, help a lot of people out understand what they're actually doing and how it's affecting the whole industry, because gaming brands sell more than non-gaming brands. It's just the way it is. And then and where is your competitors going to be? Can they be in the same, brand type that they've been in for years, right? And if they're not excluded, then you didn't actually pull the plug on GPP. You just now have agreements. So there's a lot of questions here, but let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to read your comments on this and what you think. Take a look at the blog post and point out stuff I missed or stuff that you find interesting. And I'm sure that moving forward, we're going to find out more information about this. At least I hope so. I hope people are digging into it as well. I'm going to try to dig into it more, see if I can't find anything. But I really want to know what your comments are and what you guys are thinking on this whole GPP and basically saying goodbye to it. But are we actually? So until next time, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to watch Graya Overload. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching Graya Overload. If you like this content, be sure to subscribe